Escorts of Reddit, what was the weirdest/most disgusting thing a client asked you to do? I used to work for a phone sex hotline, so it's not quite the same, but man, have you ever tried to describe making somebody into soup and then eating that soup without laughing, but you gotta somehow make it sexy? It's not easy. It's really not.
Guy in his mid-40s I'd seen a few times like to buy me outfits, have me dress up in them then get me out of them before/during sex. Nothing unusual, usually fairly skimpy dresses etc. After one session he got incredibly excited because he said next time he was going to bring me some of his wife's clothes for us to use, then he'd take them back to her. That weirded me out a bit.
I had a guy pay me to watch me paint my toes once. I mean, I think he was paying me for other things too, but never actually got to that because I apparently did a very excellent job painting them.
Dude paid me $3,000 to piss on him, peg him, tie him up and leave a dildo in his ass, then take a photo and make a post on Craigslist, back when personals was still a thing with the photo and the address and room hash of the hotel he was in. Leaving the door unlocked so whoever saw the ad could come in and have their way. I didn't have to stay for that.
Client wanted me to eat spicy foods the whole day until I came to him. He asked if I wanted to shit in his mouth and fart in his face. I refused to shit in his mouth, but he gave me $400 extra if I farted in his face, so I did it. He then got tired and told me I could go home even though he paid for the whole night. When I asked my co-workers about him, they told me he always tries it with the new ones but no one ever did it. Edit, I'm not from the US and it's legal where I live. I once had somebody that wanted to watch me with somebody else. Doesn't seem like a bad request until his idea of somebody else was his own reflection in the mirror. He wanted to stand in front of a full body-sized mirror and watch me drizzle whipped cream and chocolate syrup over his reflection and lick it off before making love to it. BTW, this was also his way of cheating on his wife without actually cheating. We never made any physical contact. Easiest $800 I've ever made.
So, not me, but an escort I know. She told me she was paid $2,000 by a man, who hid under the bed all day and masturbated while she serviced other men. And to top it all off, after every guy was done and left, he would eat her out.
Licking his feet while he watched The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Extremely weird but not especially difficult. I didn't mind that much.
I asked a girl this once and she said a guy asked her to pretend to breastfeed his baby. She obviously wasn't lactating, so she couldn't actually feed it. She declined the service.
Not me, but my friend is an escort. She said a client once paid her triple to stick her face in the toilet and give her a swirly while he had sex with her. Said she liked it more than she expected. Not me, but actually my mother's story when she escorted many years ago. He would hide thousands of dollars throughout the room and would tie himself to a chair with rope and just be trapped while he watched her search for the money. Then she would leave with the money while he was chained to this chair. There was one time she felt bad and was worried that he wouldn't be able to get out, so she went back to check on him and he got so mad and didn't contact her again.
A client hired me to hold his penis while he was peeing in a public bathroom. Weird AF.
Wear his daughter's underwear and clothing. From the pic he sent it looked like children underwear. Some things aren't worth the money. I'm hoping it was just a fantasy he had and not his actual daughter's clothing. Edit, just remembered another one. He wanted me to book a bunch of appointments before him. I'm talking a few days worth of clients, save the condoms with all these men's jizz, and feed it to him.
They hired me just so that they don't feel lonely at night. Nothing sexual at all.
Used to work for a guy that loved black people. He hired a male escort who has fit and showed off his muscles well. They didn't have sex and all they did was cuddle. My boss would be the little spoon and he would just admire the muscles. He also loved the women. He had 3 female escorts that he loved to be with because they were very black and he grew his hair out so they could make it into cornrows. He would get excited whenever a black adult would go to his place. He even sponsored a competitive eater because he was enamored by the guy. This one guy wanted me to pour bleach on myself. Have never knocked out faster than that. I seen a similar post a while back and one of the girls said a client paid money for her to fart on his face and she accidentally pushed too hard and let loose a nugget on his face. Never laughed so hard. There was an HBO special some years ago that interviewed prostitutes and the weird shit they did. The one I remember most was a large black lady. The old white guy would pick her up, take her to some crazy fancy dinner and make her eat a huge steak meal. Then hours later he would take her to a hotel so she could shit on a plate. He would then eat the turd like it was a fine dining experience. Not me, but one of my friends works as a dominatrix and they've had some crazy requests from clients. There was a dude who wanted his testicles pierced with a syringe to drain out the semen. Another guy requested for both of his testicles to be surgically castrated. The story behind the second guy was that he would get off by exposing himself in public, which he would constantly get sent to prison for. So his idea was that if he cut off both his testicles, he wouldn't have the sexual desire to expose himself anymore and could live a normal life. Nothing real weird, but that's because I was a male escort and most of my clients were female, but this one time I was asked if they could keep my underwear, so I charged her an extra $60 for them. The only disgusting one was when I walked in the hotel that was filled with smoke from the 50 cigs in her ashtray and the very large woman had a towel folded at her feet for me to kneel and began dining.